Kraken lawyer Sidney Powell recently sat down to a fun interview with the Australian broadcast company, so ABC. Now, reporter Sarah Ferguson decided to ask her some questions. One of them is one that we've all been dying to ask Sidney Powell, and she's going to get to that in this next video.
All of the organisations who had the responsibility to check the nature of this election and to verify its results say there was no fraud.
That's the propaganda they're putting out. I disagree with that completely, and we have and will produce additional evidence that shows otherwise.
What you're describing is a massive countrywide fraud involving the FBI, the DOJ, the Department of Homeland Security, the organisations who certify elections, and on, all the way up to the Attorney General, and thousands of local election officials. Are you saying that thousands of Americans participated in a fraud?
I am saying that thousands of Americans had some role in it, knowingly or unknowingly. It was essentially a bloodless coup where they took over the presidency of the United States without a single shot being fired.
Who's they in that sentence?
I don't know who all that they are. I would really like to know the answer to that. But it's a significant number of they. And they knew exactly what they were doing, and they planned it for at least 3 years. This was no accident.
Do you ever hear yourself and think that it sounds ridiculous?
No, I know myself very well. I've been in me a long time. I know my reputation.
Okay. Why did you say that? That's a really weird phrase. I've been in me a long time, so, I know my reputation. Wait, what? What are you, a lizard person wearing a human skin? Or what are you, some sort of body snatcher or parasite inhabiting a body or alien? What? Why would you say that? That's weird. I mean, again, excuse me for harping on that phrase, but that's... I don't know. That's super weird. I don't know. It struck me as real strange. But seriously, though, he talks about they. Oh, they had a conspiracy and they got together and they planned this for 3 years. I don't know who they is, but I don't know. I think she knows. I think she knows. I think she knows who the they is, but she doesn't want to say who they are. Look, as we've talked about and examined on this show plenty of times before, what happens? What is the thing that underpins most right-wing conspiracies? It usually involves a they, right? And it comes back to one thing. They usually refers to the Jews. That's the they. When you hear cabal, when you hear the deep state, generally that tends to mean Jewish people. It undergirds most of their ideology. You dig down far enough into conservative conspiracy theories, it always ends up being anti-Semitic. It's just true. And that isn't to say that there isn't a deep state per se. Oh, no, you can have an argument on that. Because what a deep state really is defined as there's a small group of powerful people that have a lot of power and influence over our government. Well, you can just look at campaign finance and see that is at least partly true. Look at corporate donations, look at super PACs, look at normal PACs, look at billionaires, corporations, as I said. And look, you look at that and you're going to see that there's corruption out in the open. Any wealthy person, any large corporation can hire an army of lobbyists and essentially get whatever they want. We basically live in an oligarchy where the needs of regular working people are generally ignored if they are the opposite of what wealthy donors want. That's the system that we live in. Okay. Now, what they usually and why it's usually against the working class is because it tends to not favor labor. It tends to favor corporate executives. And so they have policy like lower taxes on the rich, less regulation on corporations, things like that, and less labor unions, less environmental regulations, as I mentioned. Those are the things that they generally, corporations and lobbyists, tend to go for. And another thing, of course, is government stability. Government stability means market stability, which means executives as well as investors, the stock market does really well. So all you have to do is just look at that and realize, okay, yeah, we do kind of live in an oligarchy where we have a system of money and politics that's deeply, deeply corrupt that allows people, anybody with money, to come in and buy politicians. Simple, right? Simple. Is that a deep state? No, it's right out in the open. Now, another example of what people could call a deep state is the military-industrial complex. Now, that military-industrial complex aims to keep people in the United States specifically in forever wars. Like, for example, Afghanistan, which we just got out of after 20 years. Donald Trump laid the groundwork for leaving that war, and Biden followed through, and we're out of Afghanistan. That deep state, the military-industrial complex, doesn't really care who's president. We've had wars, forever wars, under Democratic presidents and Republican presidents. So there's really kind of no difference when it comes to the military-industrial complex, whether it be Democrats or Republicans. They're generally kind of the same for the most part. But of course, Biden gets credit for ending that war, as well as Donald Trump in this case. So understand with that context, this is why our conspiracy doesn't make any sense. Trump, policy-wise, wasn't all that different from other Republicans, generally. He cut taxes on the rich. In fact, that's pretty much his only major achievement. Cut taxes for the rich, eliminated regulations, was cruel to immigrants, maybe especially more cruel to immigrants, but nothing too out of the norm for Republicans policy-wise. So where he did differ was his mouth. He couldn't stop saying heinous things, emboldening white nationalists, supporting white nationalists through repetition, of course, of their rhetoric, spreading that around, the embrace of conspiracy theories, which led, of course, unfortunately, to January 6th, all that different stuff. So that's the difference. But none of that is actually why Donald Trump lost. Donald Trump lost because he bungled COVID so badly, so incredibly badly, that the American people were like, oh, fuck this. Hell no. No, I'm going to vote for somebody else, anyone, and it's also why the donors turned on as well. A lot of the corporate donors are like, this is a disaster. We just want to get back to making money. We want to get back to work. And we want to get regular people back in the factories, back in the offices, to do the work for us, to make our money. So understand that's what that was about. Okay? Donald Trump was never really that anti-establishment, because the establishment worked really well under him as long as it was making money. And for the first couple of years, they made a lot of money. But not until COVID. And that's when he lost everybody. And so now, again, I give you that context because Donald Trump loses as a result of a virus that he himself pointed out as fake. Oh, it's fake. It's a flu. It's not really that big of a deal to open up the country, blah, blah, blah. And it's the same kind of thing from Republicans where you would hear, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I would gladly sacrifice grandma for the almighty stock market. We must sacrifice blood for the stonk gods. We must make line go up. Yeah. Turns out that's a pretty heinous position. But conspiracy theories, okay? And so now on COVID, half of Trump's voters didn't believe in COVID and would regurgitate those Trump conspiracy theories. And so Sidney Powell attached herself to those, and now she has embraced crazy. And that's what it is. Embrace crazy. Later on in that interview, according to Business Insider, Powell had then asked Ferguson if she works for Smartmatic and revealed her confusion about why Ferguson came to interview in her home in Highland Park, Texas. Do you work for Smartmatic? What do you mean? Why would you ask a reporter that? No, look, they wanted to interview her, I would guess because she's a public figure who has openly and loudly spread weirdo conspiracies and tried to get an election thrown out. I mean, for the sole purpose of getting the election thrown out. At, of course, great personal cost to herself. She is being sued for these conspiracies to the tune of billions of dollars for defamation. That's what it is. And she hasn't presented her much vaunted evidence to prove her case. Because at the end of the day, she has no case. She is crazy. Again, a conspiracy like this, such a widespread conspiracy as to stealing a very big election, a presidential election, kind of hard to pull off. Especially if, the more people you have involved, the more improbable it is to actually keep the conspiracy quiet. There always happens to be a paper trail or whistleblowers like that. And none of what they have has panned out. She got nothing. She got nothing. And never will have anything. And so, sorry, but Sydney, your Kraken turned out to be nothing. Nothing but a floppy dead fish. If you enjoyed this video, please give us a like and share with your friends. You can subscribe and help out the channel by becoming a patron. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Or you can become a channel member as well by hitting the join button below.